we have This is Our Speech Called Homework by Maribel Yaco, Athena Envia, Reina Ekvaliant, and Bettina Varda.
Homework, oh homework, such a horrible name. The teacher is the person that we should blame. From math to English to science and art. Don't you think we've had enough at the start? Spring break is just around the corner, so don't you dare give us any homework. We want to enjoy it with our family and friends, and home to Joe who should be in bed. After spring break, when we come back, you give us more work than we've ever had. I was mad because my teacher gave me an F. I was grounded forever, even from school. Then my teacher called and said, you have a project to do. The project was building a wind-powered car. Well, to me, that sounds pretty bizarre. I gathered some wood, glue, and a cute red flag to build this car that was blue. I went back to school that day, and it was time to start the race. I hope I become in first place. The teacher turned on the fan, and everyone knew the plan. We would grab our cars until the teacher yelled, go! I let go my car, and it zoomed across. I knew that it wouldn't take a loss. The finish line was right there. I nearly fell out of my chair. I blinked my eyes, and I heard a cheer. But everything was so unclear. Apparently I had won. I was so happy at what was going on. I didn't realize that today was a Saturday, and I was all alone. My teacher was imaginary, and so was my ribbon. Then I realized I was talking to a chicken.
This is the cat poem, performed by Addie and myself, Nicole. I feel like I am being watched.
Every step I take, they are judging my choices.
They are breathing at my neck.
They are scrutinizing my every move.
The paranoia escalates and I don't understand why.
I feel like I am being watched. Until I remember, at any given moment, there are at least 5 cats in my household.
Romeo Lovebug Bandit, that's her full name, not 3 different cats.
Buffy the Wrestler, a.k.a. the Chosen One.
La Bella Luna Tuna.
Gandalf the Grey.
Lady and Juliet Capulet.
You have cat to be kidding me right now. Don't underestimate their significance.
Isaac Newton invented the cat door.
That's Sir Isaac Newton, who also did the gravity stuff.
See, the comfort and needs of kittens wrapped up with the 3 laws of motion that govern the universe.
These felines have explored space.
The White House.
And can see in the dark.
They can turn their ears 180 degrees.
If you own one, you are less likely to die of cardiovascular disease.
You know why
my heart is so strong? Because I love my cat so much. And if you don't, guess who felt the same? Darth Vader. Literally Darth Vader. And guess who beat him in space domination? Cats.
Cats are on every continent.
Even Antarctica.
Here's a statistic, or rather, catistic.
There are 86.4 million cats in the U.S. alone, and all of them are mine.
They have little squishy paws.
And they're great filmmakers.
If it weren't for cats,
YouTube wouldn't exist. You know what else they are?
soft,
Cute, fat. If cats could write poetry, they'd be like meow, 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 meow.
Who's on First? By Abbott and Costello.
Well, buddy, the Yankees manager gave me a job as coach for as long as you're on the team.
Well, if you're the coach, you must know all the players.
I certainly do, but it seems to me they give ball players nowadays very peculiar names.
You mean fine names?
String names, pet names. Well, let's see who you have in the backs. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
I say, who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third.
You a manager?
Yes.
And you don't know the fellas' names.
Well, I should.
Well, and who's on first?
Yes.
Guy on first.
Who?
I'm asking you, who's on first?
That's the man's name.
It's whose name?
Yes.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it.
Look, All I'm trying to find out is the guy's name on first base.
Who?
Who gets the money?
He does, every dollar. Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes.
Look, all I know is what's the guy's name on first base.
No, what's on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
One base at a time.
But don't change the players around.
I'm not changing nobody.
Take it easy, buddy.
Look, all I want to know is the fella's name on first base. Who is it?
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Who's the guy on first base? What is his name?
No, what's on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
Look, I just want to know the guy's name on first base.
That's right. Who?
Look, what's the guy's name on first base?
No, what's on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second. I don't know, okay?
He's on third. We're not talking about him.
Now, how did I get on third base?
You mentioned his name.
If I mentioned the third baseman's name, who did I say is playing third?
No, who's playing first?
What's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know.
He's on third.
There I go, back on third again. You got a catcher? Or an outfield or a pitcher? Anything you got an outfield?
Why?
Because I just wanted to know.
Well, I just tried to tell you.
Well, I just thought I'd ask. Oh, just what's the left fielder's name?
No, what's on second?
I'm not. Stay out of the infield. The left fielder's name?
Why?
Because.
Oh, he's center field.
Look, you got a pitcher on this team?
Sure.
Pitcher's name?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And what time?
What time what?
What time tomorrow are you going to tell me who's pitching?
Now listen, who is not pitching?
I'm not asking you who's pitching. Who's on first. Look, what's the pitcher's name?
No, what's on second?
I don't know.
Third base.
Left fielder's name? Catcher's name?
Today.
Today. And tomorrow's pitching.
Now you've got it.
You know, I'm a catcher too.
So to tell me.
No, I get behind the plate and do some fancy catching. And a heavy hitter gets up. Now, he bunts the ball, me being a good catcher, so I'm going to throw it to who?
Now that's the first thing you said, right?
So now, who's got it?
Naturally.
So I throw the ball to naturally?
No, you don't. You throw the ball to who?
You just said I throw it to naturally.
That's different.
So I throw it to who? Whoever it is drops the ball. The guy runs to second. Who picks up the ball, throws it to what? What throws it to? I don't know. Throws it back to tomorrow. Triple play. Another guy gets up and throws it. Another guy gets up and hits the ball to a long fly ball to because. Why? I don't know. He's on third and I don't give a darn.
What?
I said I don't give a darn.
Oh, he's our shortstop.
Sit by Shel Silverstein. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. And there's one more. That's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? My leg is cut. My eyes are blue. It might be instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze, achoo, and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button is caving in. My back is wrenched. My ankle is sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold. My toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. My neck is stiff. My voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbow is bent. My spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk. I cannot hear. There is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail. My heart is... What? What's that? What's that you say? You say today is Saturday? Goodbye. I'm going out to play.
Ken Nesbitt was born in Berkeley, California. He grew up in Fresno and San Diego. He attended the National University of San Diego and majored in computer science. My Teacher Took My iPod by Ken Nesbitt. My teacher took my iPod. She said they had a rule. I couldn't bring it into class or even to the school. She said she would return it. I'd have it back that day. But then she tried my headphones on and gave a click on play. She looked a little startled, but after just a while, she made sure we were occupied and cracked a wicked smile. Her body started swaying. Her toes began to tap. She started grooving to the beat and rocking to the rap. My teacher said she changed her mind. She thinks it's now okay to bring my iPod into class, but she takes it every day.
The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come and gather her leaves and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. They'd play hide and seek, and when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went on, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. One day, the boy came back, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come climb up my trunk, come swing from my branches, and eat apples." "I'm too old to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money." "I'm sorry," said the tree. "I have no money, just leaves and apples. Come, boy, come take my apples and sell them in the city. Then you can buy things and have fun." So the boy climbed up the tree, gathered her apples, and carried them off to sell them in the city. And the tree was happy. But the boy, he stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. After a long time, the boy came back again, and the tree said, "Come, boy, come climb up my trunk, come swing from my branches, play in my shade, and be happy." "I'm too busy to climb and play," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm. I want a wife and children, so I need a house." "Do you have a house?" "No," said the tree. "The forest is my home. But you may cut down my branches to build your house." So the boy cut down her branches and carried them off to build his house. And the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time. And when he came back, the tree was so happy she could hardly speak. "Come, boy, come and play," she whispered. "I'm too tired and sad to play," said the boy. "I want a boat that can take me far away from here. Can you give me a boat?" "Cut down my trunk, boy, and then you can build a boat, and then you can sail away and be happy." So the boy cut down her trunk, built it into a boat, and sailed away. And the tree was happy, but not really. After a long time, the boy came back again. And when he did, the tree said, I'm sorry, but I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone. My teeth are too weak for apples. My branches are gone. You cannot swing on them. I'm too old to swing on branches. My trunk is gone. You cannot climb. I'm too tired to climb on branches. Trunks. I'm sorry, said the tree, but I really wish I had something left to give you. I do not need very much now, said the boy. Just a quiet place to sit and rest. Well, said the tree, straightening herself up as much as she could. Well, an old stump is a good place for sitting and resting. So the boy, come boy, come sit and rest. So the boy did, and the tree was happy.
I will be reciting 3 monologues from the Anne of Green Gables book by L.M. Montgomery. Anne of Green Gables is about a girl named Anne Shirley who was accidentally adopted by a couple named Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert. They really wanted a boy to help them run their farm. In the first monologue, this is what Anne says for the first time when she's riding home to Green Gables with Matthew. Oh, you and I are going to get along just fine, Mr. Cuthbert. I always heard that Prince Edward Island was the most beautiful place in Canada, and I used to imagine that I lived there. This is the first dream ever to come true for me. I always dreamed I would get to live by the sea. These red roads are so peculiar. On the train into Charlottetown, I asked Mrs. Spencer what made the roads red. She said she didn't know, and for pity's sake, stop asking her questions. Dreams don't often come true, you know, Mr. Cuthbert. Just now, I feel pretty nearly perfectly happy. The only reason I can't be exactly perfectly happy is because what color would you call this? Red. I know, I have green eyes and I'm a little freckled and skinny, but I dream that I have a beautiful rose leaf complexion and violet starry eyes, but I just cannot imagine my red hair away. It'll be my lifelong sorrow. In the second monologue, Anne has a best friend named Diana Barry, who is also her next-door neighbor. On a sleepover, when Anne goes to Diana's house, she accidentally jumps on Diana's aunt, Miss Barry. Here's Anne's apology. I'm Anne of Green Gables, and I've come to confess. It was all my doing, Miss Barry. Diana would never dream of racing in and jumping on a bed like that. She's far too ladylike, whereas I am merely an orphan who wouldn't know any better. So I think you ought to forgive Diana and let her have her music lessons back. I can admit I do not know what it's like to be woken from a few hours of precious sleep, granted an old woman, by 2 ferocious wild girls landing on your head, but I can imagine it was terrifying in the extreme. If you had any imagination, you'd put yourself in our place. Do you have any imagination, Miss Barry? Do you? Well, we simply just didn't know you were there, and you scared us nearly half to death yourself. You can imagine how excited I was to be sleeping in a spare, strange bed, reserved for only important company as yourself, but then I had to sleep with Minnie May, and you do not know how she kicks. My sleep was of the bitter disappointed, for I had to lie awake knowing that I had cost Diana her future career as a world-class pianist. The third monologue, Anne is saying goodbye to Matthew and Marilla in Green Gables as she has to leave for Queen's Academy. Here's her goodbye. I'm not changed, not a bit, just pruned down and branched out again. And I will always be your Anne, your little Anne, that will stay here with you for the rest of her life and will love you and Matthew and Green Gables forever and ever.
In November 1863, President Abraham Lincoln was invited to deliver remarks at the official dedication ceremony for the National Cemetery of Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, on the site of one of the most bloodiest and decisive battles of the Civil War. Though he was not the featured speaker that day, Lincoln's 273-word address will be remembered as one of the most important speeches in American history. Here is that speech, which still rings true today. The Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is rather for us, the living, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be dedicated here to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause which they gave the last full measure of devotion, and that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Good afternoon. Today, I'm going to be reciting Carl Sagan's introduction for the TV show that ran on PBS, Cosmos, A Personal Voyage. The cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. Our contemplations of the cosmos stir us. There's a tingling in the spine, a catch in the voice, a faint sensation, as of a distant memory of falling from a great height. We know we are approaching the grandest of mysteries. The size and age of the cosmos are beyond ordinary human understanding. Lost somewhere between immensity and eternity is our tiny planetary home, the Earth. For the first time, we have the power to decide the fate of our planet and ourselves. This is a time of great danger, but our species is young and curious and brave. It shows much promise. In the last few millennia, we have made the most astonishing and unexpected discoveries about the cosmos and our place within it. I believe our future depends powerfully on how well we understand this cosmos in which we float like a mote of dust in the morning sky. We're about to begin a journey through the cosmos. We'll encounter galaxies and suns and planets, life and consciousness coming into being, evolving, and perishing. Worlds of ice and stars of diamond, atoms as massive as suns and universes smaller than atoms. But it's a story of our own planet and the plants and animals that share it with us. And it's a story about us, how we achieved our present understanding of the cosmos, how the cosmos has shaped our evolution and our culture, and what our fate may be. We wish to pursue the truth no matter where it leads, but to find the truth, we need imagination and skepticism both. We will not be afraid to speculate, but we'll be careful to distinguish speculation from fact. Well, the cosmos is full beyond measure of elegant truths, of exquisite interrelationships, of the awesome machinery of nature. The surface of the Earth is the shore of the cosmic ocean. On the shore, we've learned most of what we know. Recently, we've waded a little way out, maybe ankle deep, and the water seems inviting. Some part of our being knows this is where we came from. We long to return. And we can, because the cosmos is within us. We're made of star stuff. We are a way the cosmos can know itself. The journey for each of us begins here. We're going to explore the cosmos in a ship of the imagination, unfettered by ordinary limits on speed and size, drawn by the music of cosmic harmonies. It can take us anywhere in space and time. Perfect as a snowflake, organic as a dandelion seed. It can carry us to worlds of dreams and worlds of facts. Come with me.
Everything you do is based on the decisions that you make. Not your parents, not your past relationships, not your jobs, not the economy, not the weather, not about an argument, and your age, which is to blame. You and only you are responsible for the decisions that you make. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though, because of the passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept that first one for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
The Land of Childhood by Garnet Ann Schultz. In the magic land of childhood, where children fondly dwell, there's a pocket full of daydreams and a story sweet to tell. A land of true believing, where each happy child stands tall. There's a million golden moments where life's tiny sunbeams fall. Childhood holds a place enchanted, where no grown-up can invade. There's an innocence unequaled that just never seems to fade. There's a laughter soft and gentle, with hopes running wild, and a world of happy dreaming in the heart of every child. I am sure God loves children as he gazes from above, lending peace and special meaning to these tiny bits of love. Pleasant barefoot days in the summer, fantasy and joys untold. In the magic land of childhood, soap or raindrops, sun of gold.
Forget About Me by D.M. Larson. I suffer every day and you don't even see it. You don't see the hurt inside me, do you? Oh, it's too much to hold inside me anymore. I can't handle it. I'm going crazy. The fear is crippling me. I have to drag myself out of bed and force myself to live each day. Sure, I put on this happy face. I bet you think I'm pretty cheerful. No one cares to see the pain under my skin, the pain that's ripping at me and tearing me apart. What's wrong with me? You sure you want to know? I feel like I'm never good enough for you. No matter what I do, it's never as good as my sister. I always have to hear how she would have done it better, or how she already did it better. Why does she want to ruin my life? She just wants to blot me out like I was some sort of mistake. I'm just a copy of a copy. Not as good as the original, not as good as you. You are so perfect. Everyone around me is so perfect, and there was nothing left over for me. I am the leftover failures. I am the fatty waste that you toss out to the dogs. Everyone hates me! Why does everyone think I'm so terrible? Probably because I am. A horrible creature doomed to walk this earth and suffer. For you. I'm hurting so bad inside, cut off from everyone, punished for some past life wrongs. What have I done in a past life to deserve this? Or am I paying for the sins of my father and mother? Am I your sin? Or do I remind you of some sin you want to forget? Or am I disappointment that just keeps disappointing? I even disappoint myself. I don't want to be my sister. I will never be her. I hate everything about her. But I don't want to be me either. Sometimes I just want to fade away, become a shadow. Fading away, forgotten. Maybe if you forget about me, I won't make you so sad anymore. Thank you.
I've Been to the Mountains Up by Martin Luther King Jr. Something is happening in Memphis. Something is happening in this world. And you know, if I were standing at the beginning of time, with the possibility of taking a kind of general and panoramic view of the whole history up to now. And the Almighty said to me, Martin Luther King, what age would you like to live in? I would take a mental flight by Egypt, and I would watch God's children in their magnificent trek from the dark dungeons of Egypt, or rather across the Red Sea, through the wilderness on toward the Promised Land. And in spite of its magnificence, I wouldn't stop there. I would go on towards Greece, and I would take my mind to Mount Olympus, and I would see Plato, Aristotle, and Euripides surrounded around the Parathon, and I would watch them as they discussed the great and eternal realities of life. But I wouldn't stop there. I would go to the great heyday of the Roman Empire, and I would see all of the developments of the Roman empires and the leaders. But I wouldn't stop there. I would then go to the Renaissance and take a quick picture of all of that the Renaissance have done for the cultural and aesthetic life of men. But I wouldn't stop there. I would go to see the man for whom I'm named after had his habitat in, and I would watch as Martin Luther tacked his 95 Theses to the door of the church in Winterberg. But I wouldn't stop there. I would go to the early 30s and watch a man grasping with the problems of bankruptcy of his nation, and come with an eloquent cry, that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. But I wouldn't stop there. Strangely enough, I would turn to the Almighty and say, if you allow me to live just a few years in the second half of the 20th century, I will be happy. Now that's a strange statement to make, because the world is all messed up. The nation is sick. Trouble is in the land. Confusion all around. That's a strange statement. But I know, somehow, only when it's dark enough can you see the stars. And I could see God working in this period in a way that no other men have before. Something is happening in this world. The masses are rising up. And whether they are in Kenya, South Africa, Georgia, Washington, or Memphis, Tennessee, the cry is always the same. We want to be free. And another reason I'm happy to live in this nation, period, is that we have been forced to a point where we have to grapple with the problems that men have been trying to grapple with through history. And the man's didn't force us to do it. Survival demands that we grapple with these problems. Survival demands that we grapple with these problems. For years now, men have been talking about war and peace, but no longer can they just talk about it. It is no longer a choice between violence and nonviolence in this world. It is now nonviolence or non-existence. And that is where we are today. In the human rights revolution, if something isn't done in a hurry to bring the colored people of this world out of their long years of poverty, their long years of hurt and misery, the whole world is doomed. Now, I am just happy that God has allowed me to live in this time period to see what is unfolding. And I'm happy He has allowed me to live in Memphis. Now, as I come to say my conclusion, I want you all to know that we have to have this struggle until the end. We cannot stop. It would be tragic to stop at this point in Memphis. And when we have our march, you have to be there. Whether it means missing work, whether it means missing school, be there. It would be tragic to watch your brothers in this misery.
This is an original essay written to honor important women in our history. They made a significant difference for women today. Many people believe that men were the ones who changed history, but many brave women played leading roles in changing history, especially during the creating our country during the American Revolution. Women like Abigail Adams, Martha Washington, Phyllis Wheatley, Deborah Sampson, and many more. Abigail Adams wrote letters expressing her political views. Martha Washington sewed socks and mended men's clothing. Deborah Sampson had to disguise herself as a man to fight in the battle because she did not have equal rights. Phyllis Wheatley was the first African-American female poet. Her poems reflected revolutionary times. And these are just some of the colonial women. There were many more women that helped to change the course of history. Here is a piece of what Abigail Adams' life was, in the shoes of Abigail Adams. Hello, I am Abigail Adams, wife of John Adams, our second president. and mother of John Quincy Adams, our 6th president, I strongly supported education for women, even though I had no formal schooling. I worked hard to become a strong reader and writer. During the war, I managed our farm, taught our children, and expressed my political views in letters written to my husband. I know we have a say too, because it would be foolish to think only highly of men. Do not put such unlimited power into the hands of the husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could. Deborah Sampson was a woman who had to disguise herself as a man to fight in the battle. Why can't women have the same rights as men? Why can I not fight for my country too? She asked herself. Without these brave women's sacrifices, we would not have our freedom and thank you to all these brave women who helped to fight, who helped form this nation of ours. And a special thank you to Abigail Adams, Deborah Sampson, Phyllis Wheatley, Martha Washington, for sacrificing their lives for the freedoms of others.
The House by the Side of the Road by Sam Walter Foss. There are hermit souls that live withdrawn, and there are souls like stars that dwell apart from the others. There are pioneer souls that blaze their paths where highways never ran. But let me live by the side of the road and be a friend to man. Let me live in my house by the side of the road while the race of men go by. The men who are good and the men who are bad, as good and as bad as I. I would not sit in the scorner's seat or throw the cynic's ban. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man. I see from my house by the side of the road, by the side of the highway of life, the men who press with the ardor of hope and the men who are faint with the strife. I do not turn away from their smiles nor their tears, for both are parts of an infinite plan. Let me live in my house by the side of the road and be a friend to man.